I'm sure many of you can now see the movement on the red carpet, and this is a very good indicator that we are about to be joined by our main guest of the day, His Excellency the President. Thank you. So the Right Honorable Speaker, accompanied of course by the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Clerk to Parliament and other senior officials of Parliament, are just going to form the receiving party as we wait for the arrival of His Excellency the President. Today, the 4th of June, is the official opening of the first session of the 12th Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. And of course, today we expect to have a delivery of the State of the Nation address to Parliament by His Excellency the President, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. While this is the official opening of Parliament, it is also the third sitting. The first sitting took place on the 25th of May when we had the election of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. At that point, His Excellency the President made some very light remarks, and we expect to hear the rest of his agenda today when we have a delivery of the State of the Nation address. The second sitting was on the 28th of May, and today, the 4th of June, is the third sitting of the 12th Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. The receiving party is at the edge of the red carpet. I'm sure you can see the street guard of the Uganda Police Force that is lined up awaiting the arrival of His Excellency the President. When the President comes in, we expect to have fanfare, that is special sounds that will be played by the Uganda Police Force. I'm sure you can already hear some of the indication that His Excellency the President is on his way here. We're also happy that we've been joined by several select guests, because this session was not open to the public as would usually have been the case. However, of course, we welcome the Secretary General of the NRM and the different members from SEC that have joined us. Our main guest today, our main arrival today, will be in a few minutes, or any minute now, when we shall be joined by His Excellency the President. At this juncture, anybody who is not a member of Parliament is requested to move away, to move out of the main house. Where the members of Parliament are seated is going to be composed or comprised as a part of the precincts of Parliament, and specifically the House. So we don't expect any persons that have not taken an oath of a member of Parliament to be in that space. The indications are quite rife now. I'm sure you can see the lead cars of His Excellency the President that have now made their way into Kololo ceremonial grounds that in a few moments will be declared as the precincts of the Parliament of Uganda. His Excellency will walk through the street guard mounted by the Uganda Police Force and with the playing of fanfare, and be officially received by the leadership of Parliament, led by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, the Honourable Jacob Maxon Zoboth, the Deputy Speaker, Right Honourable Thomas Tayebwa, the Clerk to Parliament, the Honourable Adolf Musige, senior officials from Parliament, and he will be led to his tent where he's expected to sign the visitor's book, and thereafter the procession of the Speaker will start, at which point we shall follow the order paper. In the order paper, we shall start with anthems, the Uganda anthem, followed by the East African anthem. Thereafter, prayers and communication from the chair. We expect that there'll be a proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker, and that will declare these grounds where we are today in Kololo as the precincts of Parliament. This is what allows Parliament to sit here officially and allows His Excellency the President to deliver his address to Parliament. Of course, the President's address is very much a part of the Constitution. Every year at the start of Parliament, he's expected to deliver his State of the Nation address, and this is under Article 1011 of the Constitution. So the motorcade of His Excellency the President is now making its way to the reception point, and the guard has formed and is waiting for His Excellency to walk through the street guard with fanfare. So we shall just allow you to enjoy that moment. So that was the fanfare by the Uganda Police Band. Now His Excellency the President is going through the street guard to the point where he will be received by the receiving party led by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, the Deputy Speaker, the Clerk to Parliament, and senior officials from the Parliament of Uganda. Could we receive His Excellency the President? So His Excellency will now be ushered to his tent, to his sitting area. And that is the point where he normally will sign the Visitor's Book of Parliament. We shall also see the procession of the Speaker forming, led by the Sergeant at Arms, carrying the ceremonial mace. I'm sure many of you will remember that the mace was handed over to the Speaker. This is a symbol of the authority of Parliament, the authority of the Speaker of Parliament. So His Excellency is appending his signature to the Visitor's Book as a show that he is physically present here in Kololo when we have, once again, the three arms of government coming together. So shortly, the procession of the Speaker will be formed, led, of course, by the Sergeant at Arms carrying the mace of Parliament. And then we shall go into the formal agenda for the day, which is the order paper. We shall ask that you all remain standing until we have heard the playing of the anthems, the national anthem, followed by the East African anthem, and then prayers. And thereafter, once you have taken your seats, we shall have a proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker declaring these grounds as Parliament for purposes of our meeting today and making it legal for Parliament to receive an address by His Excellency the President on the state of the nation, as is stated in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Article 1011, that mandates His Excellency the President to address Parliament every year. So the procession of the Speaker will now form, and we shall communicate to you once Parliament has ended. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, His Excellency the President and Mr. Speaker.
The anthems.
Almighty God, who in your infinity wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with your abundant favor these your servants, whom you've been priest called to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner, so as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you've committed to their charge. Amen.
Proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament.
Whereas under Article 101, Clause 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda is mandated at the beginning of each session of Parliament to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation, aware that His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda has, in accordance with Article 1011, indicated to the Speaker of Parliament his intention to address Parliament on the state of the nation on Thursday, 4th June 2026. Now, therefore, in accordance with Rule 18.1 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I hereby proclaim, 1, that Parliament shall sit at Kololo ceremonial grounds on Thursday, 4th June 2026 at 1400 hours to receive the address of His Excellency, the President, on the state of the nation, and 2, the Kololo ceremonial grounds to be the precincts of Parliament for the above-mentioned purpose, given under my hand at Parliament House, Kampala, this first day of June 2026.
Communication from the Chair.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Her Excellency, the Vice President, Major Retired Alupo Jessica Ipel, His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, Dr. Flavian Treasure, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, the Right Honorable Prime Minister and Leader of Government Business in Parliament, Robin Nabanja, the Right Honorable Leader of the Opposition in Parliament, Joel Senyonyi, Cabinet Ministers and Ministers of State, Honorable Members of Parliament of Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to this official state opening of the first session of the 12th Parliament of Uganda, during which we will receive the President's address on the state of the nation. Honorable members, the State of the Nation address is a key constitutional address pursuant to Article 1011 of the 1995 Constitution, delivered by His Excellency the President to Parliament to outline the government's achievements over the past financial year, address pressing national challenges, and lay out government's legislative agenda for the upcoming session of Parliament. I take this momentous occasion to formally congratulate His Excellency the President of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, upon retaining yet another mandate of the people of Uganda. In the same vein, I congratulate all of you members of the 12th Parliament upon your election. I implore you to bear in mind that an election victory is only the foundation of leadership. What follows is the hefty responsibility of governance, fulfilling campaign promises and ensuring social cohesion. Your Excellency, on behalf of the 12th Parliament and on my own behalf, we affirm our solid commitment to the realization of the government's tenfold growth strategy, our national economic blueprint designed to expand the country's GDP from roughly $50 billion to $500 billion by 2040. Honorable members, the State of the Nation address, which we eagerly await this afternoon, is particularly historic. It will be the first of 5 annual addresses of its kind by His Excellency, the President. that will mark the start of each of the 5 sessions of the tenure of this Parliament. Your Excellency and honorable members, you will note that the physical attendance of this annual occasion has been restricted to only the members of Parliament, as a precautionary measure in response to the prevailing threat of the Ebola disease. Parliament recognizes and appreciates the government's swift response in ensuring public health and safety whenever such situation arises. And I want to thank you for your kind attention.
Invitation by the Right Honourable Speaker to His Excellency the President to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation.
Your Excellency the President, Article 1011 of the 1995 Constitution grants you the mandate to deliver to Parliament and to the nation at the beginning of each session of Parliament your address on the state of the nation. The House is greatly honored by your presence this afternoon. Honorable members, as we welcome His Excellency the President, I draw your attention to and urge you to abide by Rule 10 of the Rules of Procedure, which provides in Sub-Rule 4A that the President, while occupying the chair of state, may make a presidential statement which shall be heard in silence and not followed by any comment or question. I now take my maiden and singular honor and privilege to invite you, Your Excellency, to address the nation. Your Excellency, you are most welcome.
Excellency, the Vice President of Uganda, Excellency, the Vice President of Uganda, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, and all the other leaders and fellow Ugandans. I'm again very happy to address you on this occasion of the State of the Nation Address for the year 2026. First of all, I thank and congratulate all the Ugandans for having participated in the series of elections ever since the 15th of January 2026. And for massively supporting the NRM. Thank you so much, Ugandans. Above all, I thank God for all these victories and for the peace in the country in spite of so many evil people that have been plotting to disturb the peace. During the presidential address, during the presidential inauguration, I put forward a call of no more sleep. Some people are already distorting it as just no sleep. It is not just no sleep, it is no more sleep. And to clarify the message, I should add no more corruption, obscurzy, no more Kongora, leaning on your hole when others are digging. That's called a Kongora in our language. No more kugumaza, kuzya, diverting somebody's attention from the real target to a wrong target. No more to hinder, overburden us when we work and we are just sitting down. and no more politeness to non-performers who want leadership for their own ego and personal interests. This is the Kisanja, no sleep. The story of the NRM and Uganda starts in the early 1960s. Personally, I started waking up our people, in 1959 when I visited Mbara Stock Farm as a junior secondary 1 pupil at Mbara High School. Having come from the Ntungamo area that was democratically outside the money economy, and everybody was on Okora Ichida Kyonka, working only for the stomach, subsistence. Combined with the school education, when we came to know about the enclosure movement in the UK, Oksiba Sengenge for agriculture, the Industrial Revolution in Europe, etc., by 1965, the sectarian politics of the political groups notwithstanding, our ideas about the socio-economic transformation had coalesced. It was clear that the small enclave economy of the British, of the 3 C's and 3 T's, was a disaster for the majority of the people. You want proof? Just look at the infant mortality rate in 1962 and the average life expectancy in 1962. There were 128 per 1,000 live births, and life expectancy was 46.8 for everybody on the average. We soon grasped the importance of having vertically integrated and horizontally integrated national economies. In the 20 years of chaos between 1966 and 1986, our views were eventually crystallized into the 10 points program of Kanyara. Kanyara was where we wrote this document in 1984. Point number 5 of those 10 points run as follows, in quotes: building an independent, integrated, self-sustaining national economy. However, for the people to participate in the vertical and horizontal integration of the economy of the country, they had to join the money economy first and move out of the traditional pre-capitalist economy of working for Ichida Kyonka, working only for the stomach, just subsistence. Since my nomadic family, because my family was nomadic, since my nomadic family had migrated from Ntungamo to Nyabushozi, it was the good luck of Nyabushozi that we started our activities there. These activities involved sensitizing the population of the cattle corridor to stop nomadism, make enclosures around their land, Sengenge, engage in commercial agriculture with the Chivaro, Chura, Aymar, calculation for profit and maximum returns. You can see in the videos, let them show us some of the families we started with if they are there on the videos, their testimony.
Amazina gange Esther Magaga witu nahan baheta Gwengwe Inshweringi ahampa tukejeho mu gwankaga n'etaano ahampa eryensi konka bakandi bagyeta empango keri empango nese etaine ebihingi etaine ente etaine keri emburare ry'ekishaka twataha omu kutwabire turi omu turiisa turi nkoku tukaturi nk'abakaramoja mbwenu President aija omu hariho ngu senior ya mukaaga yataayayo omu maka gaitu tukugira ngu akaturagira ngu naragira akari omwana w'ishomero tukantumukiza n'emyaka namwe nanye ningimukiza obundi aha ningimukiza tukantumukiza emyaka akatushomesa ari omwana yatushomesa okutuura okuhinga okwombeka amaju gatakugira ngu n'amabaati agagu twayombekire bwanyuma g'ebihome okuba abatuuzi omu nsi okureera kuzengerera okureera kutaasya kutwabanda nambwenu nkaitwe nkanya nk'enju yange ekeriha kyekutaasya kanyabihara konka yatutanga yatwegyesa ebintu birungi yatwegyesa okushitama yatwegyesa okutuura yatwegyesa twaba abantu mbwenu kuko abantu babaire abarikumanya bakuru ko babaire bari itwe tukatari nk'abakaramoja kandi nakigamba mati tukatari nk'abakaramoja hako abakaramoja bakabatuura nibafuruka nambwenu nabo mpurira ngu abegyesa abandi akabareeta mpani mpurira nabo nibagamba orurimi rw'abantu nuwe yatishikiza n'oku turikushoka n'oku twine koona nuwe ataine kakwate nangu n'okuba omuntu nakwe tukantumukiza emyaka itwe tukantumukiza emyaka hari hati nangu nimukira n'obundi ampa hati kuyahirize kutwegyesa ebintu ebyo kutwayega kutwayombeka amaju g'ebihome kutwaba abatuuze kutwareera kufuruka kutwahinga yarugira omu kishaka yayongeraho ekyakabiri yayongeraho twatunga enjungu yayongeraho obwenge bw'okugemura
ntukama rita bishatu buri izooba rita emwe negura shiringi 90 korikubazamu buri izooba n'emitwaro 28 kokubazamu omu kwezi nizo 8,000,000 n'esente zikushagamu
yayongeraho twayombeka amaka marungi nambwenu ekyanga kiitu eki kyona ekindi kuheraho aha kanisa yitu erigarukira hindugarukira n'ahandi ahindi arabire obumbaire nyina amaani omutarumbanaku ekyanga kiitu kuruga aha kuhikarisha erikuhika hindugarukira tarobanaku ngu abaana banaku nibateeza empiki engaro tibariho notimbareeba kandi kangenda ebyo byona nuwe yabyegyesa ihanga eri turimu eri turikuzaniramu eri haija amasimu nkanye kuteera esimu n'emyaka yange
So there you have the testimony of some of the families we started with in 1966, end of year. That old lady was speaking in Nyankore, and she said that when we came to teach them in 1966, we were students having finished A-level, and we told them to stop. She was saying that they were like the Karamojong. Atukatu nkaba koromoishu. Nomadic. And if you read our booklets, if you are polite, if you singamwe towazako, if you can make yourself a bit humble to learn from smaller people like us, then you will see how we argued with those traditional people to stop from nomadism, stop nomadism, and have settled agriculture, grow crops, and so on. Now, she was saying that because of the insecurity, we had to go away to fight. But when we came back, 1986, we added the issue of going now, not only just being settled, but being settled and also doing commercial agriculture with the Chivaro. That's why we advise them to go into dairy farming, because dairy farming was more for smallholders and medium people. It was better than beef ranching. Beef ranching needs more land. Now, that model, which started in the Nyabushozi area, has spread to the whole cattle corridor south of the Nile. There's a man called Matongo in the Ngoma area. Let's see what he says.
Amazina ninje George Matongo wa Ngoma Mugomba w'untu hano gwata kashozi nandi kutaha umurimo gwanje ndi muri isa nteze mujya kureba nuko itandikira tatakanda gente bakubya talobo nkagwa kidana meirisa zakanya nagura amataka nyuse nazo zankorera ibintu kwenda zashubiza abana bihereze natuzurho kabanza mu nyankore naje nahindura nk'umwata ngo njungu nuko zahanyiranye natunga atuzungwe zo ndisumute.
On our farm, we collect over 900 liters of milk per day, and a liter costs 800 shillings, which is approximately 21 million per month.
So now this is now another side of the cattle corridor, Ngoma, Nakaseke district. But the cattle corridor is continuous from the border with Tanzania in Isingiro all the way up to northern Uganda. But much of the work we have done so far was in the south of the Nile, from River Kagera up to Chiriandongo. They have all changed. Now that man is in Goma area. The infrastructure is not so good, but you can see they are having a lot of money. That particular one is selling 900 liters of milk per day. The price is low, it's not high, but they still get 21 million shillings a month. You can see that girl there, she's educated because of the money which the parents have to pay for her in the schools. And they have moved from the other small houses which the old lady was showing you to now permanent buildings to live a better life. Now, that is the testimony from the cattle corridor. That's why this time really I am no longer interested in non-performers. Between 1986 and 1989, we campaigned for prioritizing the enterprise of dairy farming for the small and medium farmers, while the big players could continue with the ranching for beef. By 1995, the cattle corridor had started changing. People getting income per month from the milk, building better houses, paying school fees for children in paying schools. Indeed, our late Magaga is the husband of the other lady who you saw, and father of Lieutenant General Kavu. Is he here? Is he here? He's a big general now. Oh, you can see how big he is. There he is. Now, their family, the wife we saw, and the husband who died. Indeed, our late comrade Magaga, the father of Kavuma, came to me and told me that he did not know what to do with the money. When they started getting money from the milk, he couldn't believe it. He came to me. Ate sente zinshobora uko ndazigiri. You are people really, once you say you are a leader, you are putting a problem on yourself. If you don't become a real leader, God will not like you. I can assure you of this. Either you lead or you stay in your home. Don't try to be a leader when you are not, when you don't care about the people. So Magaga came and said, a citizen should be recognized. Because the milk people are paid every 15 days. They are paid. And this had never happened in Magaga's life. She had never seen it. That a villager is being paid every 15 days, being paid money. Being paid every 15 days. Nka owo mshahara. That's what he told me. As if I am working in a government office and being paid a salary. That was the tragedy of Uganda at that time. Only the civil colonial servants could get regular income. This change in the cattle corridor by the traditional families of Abatasoma, because these people had never gone to school. Magaga had never gone to school. His wife had never gone to school. To change Abatasoma, the ones who never went to school, was engineered by us, was against the advice of the professionals. Professionals did not believe we could change these people. They would tell me, you are wasting your time. Those Banyankore cannot change. They were all saying to a man that the Banyankore could not change from their pre-capitalist lifestyle to a money economy. Moreover, when we were doing this, nobody among the colonial elite would agree to support us. It is only Mzee Byanyima who gave us 20 shillings. With my colleague Mwesugwa Black, who died in 1972 in our wars, we used, the only person who helped us gave us 20 shillings. That's about $3. Just short of $3. Because a dollar that time was 7 shillings, a dollar. So $3 would be 21 shillings. So when we went to say we are going to mobilize the Banyankore to stop nomadism, other people refused to help us. Museveni gave us 20 shillings. With my colleague Mwesugwa Black, who died in 1972 in our wars, we used 7 shillings per person to use Mongonya's bus from Baraturshere through Ruhumba. That was 14 shillings. So out of our 20, we used 14 to come from Baraturshere. 2 of us, each one 7 shillings. Mwesugwa was a smoker. So he took away shillings 120 to buy a packet of Sportsman. That left us with 4 shillings 80 cents. After holding public meetings at Rushere, we used the Bazarona bus to a place called Katongore, each using shillings 1 shilling and 20 cents. That is 2 shillings and 40 cents. In the Katongore area, we started moving on foot up to near Nama, where we spent the night leaning against the harvested millet. When we spent one of the nights, we spent it leaning against the millet of one of the peasants called Chankuru. Millet is very comfortable when it is not threshed, when it is in the sheaves. After addressing a public meeting at Nama, the group gave us bicycle rides to Mzee Bitasene's place near Wamasha Dam. Moving on foot, we addressed meetings, including a mega one at where there is Karo Secondary School now. You should have seen the grandfathers and other adults listening to these young people. I was just 22 years old that time, and Musugo was just slightly older than me. Thereafter, we moved on foot out of Mzee Tanyoka's home that we had made our camp and spent the night at Rushere with Mzee Mhinga. Thereafter, our remaining 2 shillings and 40 cents could only take us up to Nyakasharara. And from there, we walked on foot all the way to Mbarara, spending the night at my kurar in Akairungu near Biharu Mbarara area. It was now 1967, January, and it was time to take up our temporary teaching jobs and get our own money to easily support our voluntary struggle for our people. Therefore, when I hear leaders talking of allowances to reach their people and get them out of poverty, I almost get nausea. I feel like vomiting. If you don't know, when I look at you, the way you do things, I really feel very not pleased, but out of politeness, I've been keeping quiet. But now I'm telling you. Even those who get government allowances do not go to the field. I hear that many just stay in Kampala. Another mistake is for leaders to give personal money to constituents. As you can see here, we had no money to give to anybody. The only money we had, even when we started getting our own salaries, was for bus transport. Most of the time, I would ride the bicycle from Kazo to Burunga, from Burunga to Wakitura and back. The only fuel I needed was no fat on my body. So now you hear a problem. Murka chief needs a motorcycle. Motorcycle for what? Let the Murka chief ride a bicycle. I'm really sick and tired of that parasitism. And that's why I told you that this is Iksanja, no more sleep. Because I've been polite, talking, thinking that people will learn by example. No. This is the time to talk straight to everybody. Why should the Muruka chief have a motorcycle, fuel, money? Let him use a bicycle. It is better for him. He will live longer if he rides a bicycle. Even a Gombora chief, the Gombora is not so big. Why should we have fuel, all that? Work can't be done because there's no money for fuel. The only fuel I needed was no fat on my body. We would share food and accommodation with our hosts, the population. God has kept me here, and I'm now 82 years old, almost, not exactly, but almost. In spite of the efforts we expended in the resistance, the most important contribution to the people of the Cattle Corridor was diagnosis of their problems and the prescriptions we offered. Because these people had no money to give them. The only thing we gave them was a correct analysis, diagnosis, and a prescription. They were enough to arouse their enthusiasm and expectations. That was the reason they massively joined the young party we formed in 1980, known as UPM, after the parties were again allowed to exist. No money given to them, but accurate analysis and prescription that was a projected solution. And also reaching them. You can imagine a 22-year-old children calling adults, grandfathers, and they come to these meetings. By 1986, the production of milk in Uganda was 200 million liters per annum. It is now 5.4 billion liters. saving Uganda US dollars 1.56 billion of imports and earning US dollars 285 million in export earnings. So this work we did not only help these cattle raising families, but saved Uganda the import bill of $1.56 billion. If we were importing all this milk, Uganda would be spending $1.56 billion. Additionally, Uganda is earning now $285 million in export earnings. Uganda used to import tinned condensed milk from as far away as New Zealand, packed pepper milk from Kenya, butter, cheese, yogurt, powdered milk, etc. from Denmark, etc. Uganda now is a big exporter of all those products. That is our work. The people in the cattle corridor need to deepen their work by going away from oxetura, free range, to growing pasture and indoor feeding of cattle, goats, and sheep. The only people who indirectly helped us in this were the late King Gasionga and some community leaders like Eliazar Bitembe, who had mobilized the Banyankore to come back from where they had been dispersed by the spread of the tsetse flies following the invasion of tsetse flies from Karagwe, Tanzania in 1918 and after. To be saluted in particular is President Eisenhower of the United States, who deployed USAID to spray against the tsetse flies in 1958 using a chemical known as dieldrin. When President Clinton visited us in March 1998, I wanted him to visit the cattle corridor and see the outcomes of the good the USAID had done. However, his people preferred to take him to Mukono to see pancakes. So I wanted him to go and see this work, but his people said, no, you go to Mukono and see pancakes. So they went to see pancakes. Even me, I went with them. Ever since the coming into power of the NRM, we have eradicated the tsetse flies in Ichiboga, Ngoma, Busoga, Lango, etc. With the shift from Kusetura, free range, to indoor feeding of the dairy and beef cattle, and stopping the primitive practice of property fragmentation after the death of the head of the family, Uganda will overtake countries like the Netherlands, Australia, Argentina in production levels of dairy products, beef, leather, etc. After this success, I started inviting delegations of leaders from other parts of Uganda to visit and learn. This is where the question of no more sleep, no more kukongora, no more kugumaza, no more kuhenda, no more politeness to non-performers comes in. Because I would invite leaders, come please and see. This area was like this. We have now moved it, it's moving like this. And they would visit. My expectation was that they would go and try to do the same in all our areas in Uganda. The county of Nyabushozi each day delivers to the factories and milk coolers 1.15 million liters of milk per day. That's county alone. There are 115 milk coolers in Nyabushozi alone, mainly private. And there are now 160 milk and milk products factories in the whole of Uganda. Having succeeded in the Nyabushozi-Kazo area, and having been inviting delegations after delegations in 1995, I made a countrywide tour on exactly this point. I studied the whole country, and I recommended the two modes of agriculture: intensive agriculture for people with small pieces of land, and extensive agriculture for people with big pieces of land. In the 1996 manifesto, we reduced it into the 4 acres model with 7 activities for intensive farming and for other products for the plantations and the big farmers with big pieces of land. With 4 acres or less, you could engage in zero grazing for 1 acre of pasture with 8 Frisian cattle, 1 acre of coffee, 1 acre of fruits, 1 acre of food for the family, poultry for eggs and piggery in the backyard, and fish farming near the wetlands. With large farming, Zika, what you were saying, the cows, I think now they are giving you like 60 liters. Is much. He went into coffee growing. We don't have time to listen to the whole story, to the Chibaro, but he's doing very well. This is Mudiebo, who started with nuts long ago. Then now you go to there's somebody called Cherimo or Buko. Let's say Cherimo Buko.
Welcome to this village. Is called Ngeny Village, Kapkoro Sub-County, Buko District. I am a farmer. I'm doing dairy. As you can see, I have 3 cows now, but 2 are producing milk. 1 is still growing. I also have coffee, 1,200 trees. I have bananas on 1 acre. I also have fruits, apples specifically, and then I have horticulture. I am growing vegetables, and then I have chicken, the local breed, but I have 100 so far under a poultry unit, which we are producing for milk, for eggs, and also for sale. We really thank government because when I started this farm, I started doing this farming activity in 2004. I did it using my own resources, but in 2018, government under Operation Whereas Creation, they gave us a cow, and now this cow so far it has sired 3. These ones are 3 here. Because of the congestion here, I've taken them to another annexed farm which I bought. These cows here, it has assisted me so much as a farmer because we are getting milk. As you can see, this one here, this one is Asha. It has produced milk for over 1 year plus. So the milk production has gone down. But so far, we are getting 10 liters a day from this other cow. Then this one is a crossbreed, a local and a crossbreed. We are getting, this one gives us 8 liters. So in total, these cows give us 18 liters per day. This 18 liters, when you calculate it with the current market price of 1,800, we get like 900,000 every month from these 2 cows. So next year, all of them are they are pregnant. We expect them to produce in January. So when we get now peak production, our milk is going to increase. But so far, these other 2 cows is assisting us in payment of fees, maintaining the home. We are also getting the bananas, which we sell on weekly basis. At least we get like 250,000. In a month we get like about 1 million from the bananas. Then the coffee is also doing very well. So far, this year we have already picked 5 bags of dry parchment. And that 5 bags, when you calculate it to the price of 10,000, that is already 5 million. The coffee is doing very well because of this mixed farming ingredient. We get the cow dung, we get the bioauxiliary, and that is what is, you can see the bananas are very healthy, and also the coffee is doing very well. So that is what we are getting.
That is the testimony of Cherimo. I didn't get time to calculate the whole Chibaro, the whole calculation, the milk, the 900,000 per month. That would be like 10 million a year. Then you have the bananas, 200,000 per. Then you have the coffee. But he started benefiting from Operation Wealth Creation. Let's see now Kaziwe of Jinja.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
Amanya ganze kazumai tuli namazala LC1 Sedisa County in the district. One we tuli kaziwe family mixed farm ya waka. Farm wenu twabita nikamu kumizuri kumilesa tunga ntemu ya tuwe wa government na tuita mkutongole estanadi. Mkisere echo government ya letu wengi twalo sangu rafu vitwale sanfayo mwaka vitwale asatu mwetano kukule njana kumilioni yemu ne vitwale etano. Ente eyo etuzalidde abaana kati mukiraalo wano saawa zino wenjogerera waliwo ente 11 naye abaana bezadde abaana ente eyo bezadde n'abazikuluna bonna bazze batuzaalira kale tuzze nga tutunda ku nte ezo okukendeeza ku carrying capacity nga bwe tuli faamu kuno tulinako ente ezikamwa saawa eno tukama ente 5 nga tufunamu amata gawera lita 8 buli lita tugitunda shilingi 200 lunaku lwetufuna emitwalo 9 mu kakaaga. Omwezi ogumu tufuna miliyoni zaffe 2.88. Kakati bwetujjako ez'abakozi netujjako ezidukanya faamu n'ebiralala ogenda okumaliriza nga tukazizaawo miliyoni 1 n'ekitundu ezo ezikola emirimu emirala mu maka. Monta muno era tujjamu biogas tumukozesa mu kufumba
newoba okoyo oba ova mu nnimiro towerera tomenyeka osazawo wano gaasi n'ofumba nebitereera era kyataasa nnyo tetukyamenyeka nangu.
Kino kyenkutte mu ngalo ye sabbuuni waffe bwe tukola okuva mu busa obw'ente. Sabbuuni eno tumukola mu biosilary abaavudde mu biogas registrant gas amaze okuvaamu. Sabbuuni ono tumupakinga mu lita 1 ne mu lita 5. Lita 1 etunda 3,000 nga currently omwezi production yaffe ya lita 7 era nga buli lita tugitunda 3,000. Bw'obalabalamu omwezi tuyinza emitwalo 21 okuva mu sabbuuni waffe ono. Ng'oggyeko bye tukozesa n'ebirala packaging materials ng'obudomola buno ne bu stickers bwe tuteekako obwa labeling tukakkana nga tulinawo emitwalo gyaffe 18 ezitaliiko musolo okuva mu sabbuuni buli mwezi.
Ennimiro eno tugiyita COVID garden. Bwe twali mu lockdown nga buli muntu ali waka eno yali ssamba ya bikajjo. Ne tusalawo ne tugamba ebikajjo tubigyewo tuzimbewo koko. Olwo nga mmaze okugendako ewa mukwano gwange maze n'okuwulira pulezidenti bw'asomesa 4 acre model. Wano tulinawo ebikolo bya koko 1,800. Buli eka bagiteekamu ebikolo 450. Kati nga tetunnaba kutandika kulya koko twali amatooke kuba buli kikolo kya koko bw'okiraba kwaliko ekitooke. Muzeeyi agamba 4 acre model tuli ku principle ye kituufu naye ffe tubala bikolo tubala nti ebikolo 450 biri kukola eka kati ffe tubala nti wano tulinawo eka emu ey'ebitooke.
Kaziwe near Jinja has cows selling 80 liters of milk a day, has coffee, has cocoa, has bananas, as you can see. I think even had pigs, but we don't have time to see all that. Now, all these, some of them, he got them from Operation Wealth Creation when it was giving out some of the seedlings. Then there are other, my favorite from Abim, Karamoja. Let's see that one.
Ogira. I am a model farmer in Abim district. My village here is called Arangetai West. Arangetai Parish, Abuk Town Council, Abim district in Karamoja. The mango trees you are seeing here were given to me by the President through Operation Wealth Creation. I received 200 mango seedlings, and I planted all, and they are all doing well. Apart from this venture, I got money from PDM last year. I got 880,000. And I used 800,000 for buying 10 goats. And the goats are there. They have multiplied. They are now 16. Part of the money of PDM I used for buying cassava stems. Through that money, I've managed to plant 2 acres of cassava. They are now doing well. The first acre I intend to harvest next year in January. Then for the mangoes, you are seeing, I started harvesting last year in 2023. The first harvest, I got 6 million. That was in June. Then second harvest in November, I got another 6 million. So last year, from these mangoes, I got 12 million shillings. I've been selling to the people around. Actually, Soroti Fruit Factory has booked this mango. They want me to take these mangoes tomorrow, 2025, to the factory. Actually, I've been selling locally. I've been selling 1 at 500 shillings, 2 1,000. And people are buying. These mangoes are very good. The mangoes, trees you are seeing here, are giving me money, a lot of money. And I want to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Kaguta Museveni, for coming up with the idea of Operation Wealth Creation in the country. This is money. I am not going to suffer. My children will not suffer because of this wealth. I call it wealth now. I always harvest. I don't harvest mango. I harvest money, not mangoes. So I want to thank our President so much. And next year, if all goes well, I expect to get 18 million first harvest. And then second harvest, I also expect to get 18 million.
So now there, you have another Magaga in Karamoja. Because you remember Magaga, the father of General Kavuma, told me that he did not know what to do with the money. He said to the Jirenta, he said to the Shoveri, every 15 days I get money. Now here you have got this man from Abim saying that I'm not going to suffer, my family will not suffer, bye-bye to poverty. He's here speaking in English, and he speaks very clear English. That's why I like that video. With the big farmers and the manufacturers, the government has put a total of Uganda shillings 1,600 billion in the UDB. Because the question was, once we started preaching, stop working for the stomach only, work for the stomach and the pocket. Some of the communities, in the cattle corridor, they didn't ask for capital. They moved without capital. They used their own capital. The only thing we gave them was advice. But in the other areas, they didn't have the indigenous, because for them they had indigenous cows, they converted them and they got capital, many of them. But in other areas, it was not so easy. So that's why we started with the Entandikwa and NADS and Operation Wealth Creation and now PDM. But this is for the smaller people. The question is now, how about the big farmers and the manufacturers? Yes, we have not forgotten those. With the big farmers and the manufacturers, the government has put a total of Uganda shillings 1,600 billion in the UDB. The interest rate for that money is 12% per annum. The interest rate for PDM is 6% per annum and payable after 2 years. Hence, for shillings 1 million, the borrower will return shillings 1.2 million for the PDM. We are always creating other funds for the ghettos, for the musicians, etc. So capital is not a problem. Unlike the colonial agents who never want to plan for Africa, we have told Ugandans that our economy has got potential in 4 sectors. Services, commercial agriculture, manufacturing, and ICT. The President is here. Parliament is here. Once people have woken up from sleep and they want low-cost capital, if the shillings 100 million per parish per annum or any other fund is not enough, we can increase the money by adjusting from other areas. With the cattle corridor, we did not wait for low-interest capital. As already said, our only contribution to them was the word. In the cattle corridor, the work there was echigambo, like the one with the Bible. In the beginning, there was the word. The word was God. There we just used the word. In the other areas, we use the word and the capital is there. Small capital for small things, big capital for big things. The advice was to go from nomadism to sedentary agriculture, to go from Okore Chidachonka to working for the stomach and for the pocket, and do so with the Chibaro. Additionally, in the cattle corridor, I gave 20 milk coolers that had been brought by Danida. That was all. They converted their indigenous Ankole cattle into half-breeds, Ebiwa with Frisians, and they took off. However, wealth creation cannot take place if there is no peace, no law and order, and supportive infrastructure in the country. The UPDF always guarantees peace in the country. The police and judiciary must ensure law and order. The NRM has struggled to tarmac, so with infrastructure, our scorecard is clear and must not be allowed to be spoiled. The NRM has struggled to tarmac the core national Aru, Nimure, and Musingo in the north. These are all linked by tarmac roads. Then the tarmac roads continuous from the north through the Kampala area to Kachitumba, Katuna, Chanika, and Bunagana in the south. The mistake has been by the Ministry of Works to allow these roads to deteriorate, and then we start to doing heavy work afterwards. The new ministers must ensure, I don't want to see what happened to some of the roads like the Fort Portal Road. But there's a story about that Fort Portal Road. There's a story of corruption in that road. I hope the new team will deal with that issue. We have tarmacked the road from east to west, from Busia, Ruahaha, Swam, Amudat, all the way to Mpondwe, Busunga, and Ishasha in the west. This does not include the tarmac roads linking to the water bodies that are also transport connections, such as Jinja. Because when you have the tarmac road up to Jinja, you go into the water, you cross by ferry to Mwanza, to Kisumu, wherever you want to go. Majanji, Port Bell, Butiaba, Kaisotonya, Bukakata, there are tarmac roads going up to these water bodies. We are revamping the meter gauge railway and building the standard gauge one. We are working with Kenya and Tanzania on the pipelines for the crude petroleum products and for the refined petroleum products. This will move cargo, heavy cargo, away from the roads to the railway, and petroleum products from the roads to the pipeline. In the coming years, we will no longer see tankers on the road, petrol tankers. They should not be on the road. Petrol should go by pipe, should not be competing with cars. That leaves the roads for only passengers and light cargo. The Maram roads must be maintained always. Where the 3 billion shillings per district, which we send, cham, they just eat it. If it is not enough, why not bring up the matter? You, the members of parliament, if you think that the 3 billion per district is not enough, bring it up. And we cut money from somewhere and we make sure the roads are worked on. Instead of just keeping quiet, and you find the Maram road from Rira to my village in Barregi. It was terrible. It was very bad. It had not been maintained for a long time. Therefore, the NRM has identified all the requirements for building a prosperous Uganda. The NRM has also provided for the means for individuals, families, or companies that want to be part of the socio-economic transformation story. As I've said before, our mission has been to ensure that the individuals, the families, or the companies that listen to our message are assisted to be wealth and jobs creators. Right from the beginning, we realized that the internal factors are crucial, but not enough to ensure the socio-economic transformation of Uganda. We need to answer the question, in quotes, if the individuals, families, or companies create wealth and produce products and services in 4 sectors of commercial agriculture, manufacturing, services, and ICT, is the internal market enough? Is the internal market enough of these African countries? Our answer was no. The internal market cannot be enough. Indeed, if the internal markets were enough, why would a country like China, with 1.3 billion people, or India, with 1.4 billion people, be looking for external markets? Hence, ever since the 1960s, we have been having a Pan-African agenda on top of the patriotic agenda within Uganda. The Pan-African agenda was aimed at the economic integration of the whole of Africa in a continental market and for the political integration within East Africa, leading to the political federation of East Africa. The economic integration would deal with the prosperity of the African people, while the political integration of the parts of Africa that are compatible would deal with the strategic security of Africa, especially defense on land, in the air, at sea, and in space. Therefore, for the wealth creators of Uganda, most of the factors are in place now. That is why we are now saying no more sleep, no more kukongora, leaning on your hoe while others are working. No more kugumaza, diverting people's attention. No more corruption. And no more politeness to non-performers who want leadership for ego and personal interests. We must ensure that enjuku unju, house to house, ought be ought in our Luo language. Ensure that enjuku unju For the families with the land, they get into the money economy with the chibaro. The ones without land, their solution is the myoga, skills. Indeed, we also need to know that with increasing population, it will be neither possible nor necessary for everybody to have land. That is why there are other sectors, manufacturing, artisanship, services, ICT, e.g. transport, entertainment, ICT, e.g. BPOs. In the developed countries, very few people own land. I saw in the Negative Monitor newspaper an article by an individual known as Gawaya Tegure, who is always writing mendaciously and maliciously, saying that Uganda has been wandering in the desert for 40 years, like the children of Israel. Those who are wandering in the desert are partly those who listen to those liars. If you listen to the liars, you will wander in the desert. It is true that many of the leaders do not amplify this message of how people can get out of poverty. However, those who do change their lives. I understand Gawaya comes from Bugwere area. Let him visit Mama Nabutono and her husband, Obuko de Seru Kasasera Ward, Kasasera Town Council. Let's see Mama Nabutono if you have her.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip, and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning all. And this is just the beginning. I need a big change, I feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all.
Mu mwaka 1993 embizi gye ntwalishanga gino ejja bulijjo local breed tugirisire mpola mpola nenge ndisera ati ni ya mulembe tugirisya isubi tugirisya ku muwogo na maolu. Program ya PDM yaizire akati awo tubaina aba advisor aba external field extension workers ngani omwe amabola yalambulanga aka project gaiseke embizi atwangu magezi nte project eno mujongere magezi omaiseyo mufuneke embizi eja mulembe.
Nafunire esente ja palisi modo mbanka na emtwale kenda munana nagise na gyongeiro omukapito yange nkaire embizi gide jaloko ni ngule embizi abirira nigivyala omumbizi ejo eja byaire nintunda bana ni kobanti tinakomanu ningulamu esekoko jona ndikulisya esente gindi ninkozesa efizi okubana.
You know, when they are speaking, Uruguay, they speak Nyankore in their own way, but I can for everything. So they had some local pigs before, but when PDM came, they bought the modern ones. The Rugwele, they speak Nyankore, also mix it with the Nyarwanda. Kuvyara is the Nyarwanda or what? No, Nyarwanda is a bit different. So now they have pigs. They have also sekoko. I didn't know anything about sekoko myself. They're the ones who exposed me. So once the people get capital, they will do their own things, like Nabutono there. Uganda has gone through 5 phases of positive development. These are the recovery phase. of the colonial enclave economy and ending the informalization of the economy into Magendo, Chibanda, and Kusamala. That was smuggling, forex black market, and speculation, following the destruction of the economy by Idi Amin. Expanding the enclave economy, diversifying it. That is how the dairy sector changed the cattle corridor, and the cassava is changing in many parts of Uganda. These are totally new cash products. Very addition to some of the raw materials, e.g. gold, and the knowledge economy of the automobiles, vaccines, computers, etc. What is high-sounding sloganeering there? Because that's what the other gentleman was saying, that's just slogans. These are achievements on the ground. Let's go where you go to nearby Mbari Industrial Park. Show us the industrial park. Mbari. How can you call that a slogan? Is that a slogan? That is sloganeering. I think now they were saying there were like more than 80 factories there, 12,000 workers in that area. These are achievements on the ground. Let Gawaya go to nearby Mbari Industrial Park. How can such a park be a desert where there is no water or peace or production? Yes, there are problems of the issues like drugs in health centers. That is why, another time I will talk more about this, the issue of service delivery. That is why the NRM introduced democracy from the very beginning by getting people to elect the committees of the resistance councils, especially in the Buked area. FOBA, the group of who are saying they were following Obote, started killing those elected leaders until we crushed FOBA. Elect people who help in exposing those mistakes. You have the power. Another time I'll speak about that, because the parishes are in Uganda, and everywhere there is local leadership, especially at the sub-county, and they are councillors. Why should things go wrong when all those leaders are there? Of course, even the government is also responsible, because they are the GISOs in every sub-county. Why would things go wrong and the GISO doesn't know? And they did so. The facts of the matter are that with the limited waking up, where 67% of the homesteads as compared to 9%, because in 1962, only 9% of the people were in the money economy. Only 9%. When I checked in 2013, only 32% were in the money economy. But as we speak now, 67% of the homesteads are in the money economy. And Uganda has graduated from the least developed countries to a lower middle income country. Our GDP rose from 3.9 billion in 1986 to now 69.3 billion by forex exchange method, and 197.1 billion by the PPP method. The GDP per capita has risen to US$ 1,278, while the threshold for lower middle income status is $1,136. Household poverty has declined from 56% in 1992 to now 16.1%. Life expectancy was 43 years 1986. It was 46 in 1992, but it had come down to 43 by 1986 because of the chaos which Amin created. It had come from 43. It is now 68 years. The infant mortality rate was 122 for 1,000 born alive. It is now 36 for 1,000 born alive. In other words, our economy has expanded more than 17 times in the last 40 years of recovery, expansion, diversification, value addition, entering the knowledge economy, and transformation. This year, the economy is projected to grow at 6.4%, and the next year, the GDP will grow by 10%, pushing the size of the economy to US$ 80 billion. All this is before the start of the flow of our commercial oil. In the last 15 years alone, the country has added 31 new products to the export basket. Uganda now exports manufactured goods, including pharmaceuticals, refined gold, steel, ICT products, ceramics, plastics, the dairy products already talked about. Uganda's exports have reached US$ 18 billion in the 12 months ending in March 2026. The 67% of the people that have listened to our messages and friends from outside that have invested here have turned our economy into a country of surpluses. Milk, 5.4 billion liters from 200 million liters in 1986. Fish, 727,000. Coffee, 9.3 million 60 kilogram bags from 2 million bags in 1986. 76,000 metric tons of cocoa. Cement, from about 5,000 tons to 7 million metric tons of cement. Maize, from 200,000 to 5 million metric tons. Bananas, from 6.6 million to 11 million metric tons. Cassava, from 3.5 million to 4.5 million metric tons. Sugar, from 150,000 to 700,000 metric tons. We are now set for further and faster growth and transformation. With electricity, we have moved from 60 megawatts in 1986 to now 2,098 megawatts. We are, however, aiming at 50,000 megawatts from hydro, solar, gas, wind, nuclear, and geothermal. Therefore, all the leaders must ensure that those programs are downloaded in their respective areas. In the next 5 years, all the households with land must get the low interest capital in the form of PDM. You, the leaders, you must ensure this. You must go up to the parish levels. You may not be saving the parish, but you call the parish chiefs at the constituency level and make sure they do their work. If they don't do their work, we shall sack all of them. There's already 557 million in the parish. I was saying 800 million in the other address, but there's now because when the PDM started, initially they sent less than 100 million per year. So they are now saying the money which is in the parish, including the one of payback, is 557 million in the parish. And it has reached 3.7 million households. We are going to put shillings 100 million plus 15 million for the leaders per annum per parish in the rural areas, and shillings 300 million plus 15 million for the leaders per ward in the towns. Uganda shilling 760 billion has gone for the Myoga, operating from the constituency level. Where is that money? How many and which Myoga associations have benefited from this money? There's one of the young people who was involved with the Myoga money. Fortunately, he was elected as a member of parliament for Kasanda area. Bisaso, is Bisaso here? Where is the Bisaso? Oh, I'm not allowed to, because I'm not allowed to speak, to say anything, and the other people are not supposed to stand up or walk or what. Is the Bisaso here? Ah, that's how Bisaso looks like. He knows about Myoga, that man. Thank you. On account of peace, some traders have generated a lot of capital through imports. These are the ones that built arcades, real estate. There's a young lady called Nanteza that is always showcasing on UBC the different real estate developers. Can we see Nanteza? If you have captured her. She's always showing how rich people are. Let her speak also. Where is she? You have suppressed her. Those are all real estate built by your people. Where is Nantes? You suppressed her. I'm not Nantes or Nadako. Because I've been watching her show every Sunday. She's always showing. So there is poverty in Uganda, but there's also wealth, because those are Ugandans. Those are Ugandans. A Ugandan returnee from abroad was recently trying to buy a flat in the Kampala area. And they were demanding US dollars 1.2 million. A Ugandan who was come from outside came back. You know, when people are outside, they think that Uganda is in poverty. So this Ugandan came back, was looking for a flat. And the flats were selling at $1.2 million. And as she was trying to mobilize the money, the resident Ugandans had bought all the flats. Only she came back, they said, sorry, all the flats are sold. She was amazed that me, the diaspora, I don't have money. These Ugandans, the stayees, have a lot of money. The middle class is coming up. The question is, what sort of middle class are we witnessing coming up? Are they the comprador bourgeoisie that are agents of foreign interests? Or importers, commission agents, etc.? Or are they the national bourgeoisie that build the capacity of the country through being big or small farmers, manufacturers, service providers, and ICT operators? Let us therefore move. No more sleep, no more Kongora, no more corruption, no more kugumaza, no more politeness towards non-performers. This one, it is actually, I have been polite enough. I don't Kuemura people. All the non-performers must leave leadership. Leadership is not for ego, but for people and country. In agriculture, it is possible to have pan-Ugandan rural transformation. In the Exos area, I have 9 villages with 2,048 homesteads now. As of today, all the 2,048 homesteads have joined the money economy with coffee, bananas, dairy farming, goat rearing, and poultry. Let me see my Kisozi areas, if you have got some.
Manya gange nzerule John ndi musajja mulimi nundayo nimanyo kusinga nimanye mwanyi nima kasooli ebitooke natandise n'okulima ennyaanya naye njala kwebaza nnyo President Museveni kubanga yasanga tetumanyi kyakukola kusooka nga ettaka lyaffe lyerisinga obulungi wano mu disitulikiti y'e Gombo naye ettaka lyonna nga mbizi za musiko mwe zisula. President bwe yatuweereza abatusomesa ne batuyigiriza engeri gy'osobola okulima emmere bwe twava mu mmere kati abaasooka okulabuka ate kakati tuli basajja bagagga. So ekitiibwa kyonna kyonna kitiibwa President Museveni. Okusooka byonna President yampa ebitooke nalima yiika 5 ebitooke ebyo nakuŋŋanya million 27 mu bitooke. Endala ezaweerera abaana ze nalya nali sizibala naye bwe nafunanga katugeze million 1 nga nteekako emitwalo nga 3 oba 5 nesevinga million 27. Kakati mu season ewedde emwanyi zokka nga nzigyeko ze nateekamu kubanga nze ebiseera ebisinga sibala zentaddemu saagala kuzibala. Njagala bwe mmala ze njagala okukubuulira ge magoba nafuna million 15 nenyongerako season eyo ey'emmwanyi nenzimba ennyumba yali ya million 93 nenjizimba era naawe weeri nagulawo buguzi nagulawo million 9 waliwo yiika 1.5. Nina abaana 6 bonna bali ku ssomero kati ekyo nakyo magoba nguzeeko ebibanja kubanga fe abalimi obudde bwona olowooza mu kulima kati bukaseera wobeera ekifo kiba tekikumala kirala nengulamu mulo motoka nagigula million 48 ebirala nonzeeko ninayo obute butono ate ninayo n'obuvuzi bwange neera nabwo buva mu mwanyi President zampadde. Naye tulina ebitusoomooza. Ekisooka emmwanyi zino zirina akawuka sobola okulabako nga bino kubanga abatuyigiriza abalimisa batugamba nti ogenda obinojjola kugeza nga kino kati okalaba kano kati amakungula gaakano gandibadde nga agaakano.
When I first went to Kisozi in 1990, they were all democratically poor. They had no idea of money. I would go very early in the morning to see my cows, and by 9 they would be sitting in the trading centers on the verandas. Muli mutya banange tuli bulungi mukola ki tuli awo. They are just there. They are doing what? Tuli awo. Esente muzijjawa ate munange tuziraba. Money is not seen. Mpozo otuwayo akasente. That's what they would do. They would ask me for money. So I really started fighting with those people. So please donate your own money. Now I'm very glad that initially the homesteads were 1,300, I think. Now they are 2,448. They all are in the money economy. I don't want to be in a parish where there are homes where people are in poverty and they're just contented. I visited a parish in Rubirizi some years ago called Ndangaro. There are 2,500 homesteads. And they were all poor, no money. Very rich area, it's a volcanic area with very, very fertile soil, but the advice of what to do. They said, we are all poor here, except one man called Kateva, who had 7 pigs. This is the one who was rich, Kateva. Shana Kateva no mugaiga. Nte inesh aine pulu mushanju. This is terrible. And you find the leaders, the political leaders, even the church leaders. I started quarreling with the church leaders. I went to Chikoni, in Tungamo. There's what they call Amajesha. Amakungura, they bring it to God. I saw one woman bringing one egg. That he's bringing the one egg to God. After 1 year. Walking very, 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 very humble as if she's going to heaven that time. This is terrible. You cannot have people like this. Please, honorable members, allow me to show you that woman of Rubiris again. That girl called what? Tumhimsa, the one of Rubiris.
Amazina mbanyita Tumusime Dezerata omutuze wa Rubirizi district ate nyimirira ndi omuseri ya Kizurugo nisima president wa Uganda ayatwire PDM nyo kurangine myaka nkaga nina nkatene chinda tungira haka.
Now that's the statement I want you to capture, that she was 64 years that time, but she had never owned anything in her life. You imagine that. What sort of society? And she has got children. Then what? How would the family be? Huh? I showed you the other time Appeal. Let's see Appeal again. Of Lira.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive. There's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cashing for a ticket. I'm going on a trip, and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning.
Our name is Appeal Piki, a resident of Aling Risel, Banya Ward, Hamach Town Council in Lira District. She got the money for PDM in 2023. 970,000 and then 30,000 remained in the bank. She planted maize. She bought maize 15 sackets. 30,000 each sacket. She used it, actually she planted it in the 3 acres of land. Preparing the garden cost her 150 for the 3 acres. Weeding cost her 50,000. Then spraying cost her 40,000. Time for harvest came.
To quote the story of Appeal, she had been married for 20 years. And she has got adult children, like 18 and so on, teenagers. But she had never handled 1 million shillings in her life. She did not have land. When she got land, when she got the 1 million shillings, she didn't have her own land. She had to go and hire 3 acres from somebody else grow maize, sell the maize, put some of the money back into agriculture, and then buy those sheep, the ones you saw. When I was there in the campaign, she told me she had now 60 sheep. Then I didn't know about sheep. So who buys sheep? She's the one who told me that, no, South Sudanese like sheep, they buy. So these people, our people are really clever people if they are supported. They even know things we don't know. I didn't know sheep, that sheep, even dreaming in my dream, I can't dream sheep. But for her, she knew that sheep has got a market in South Sudan. Nabutono, I don't know who buys Sekoko, I have no idea. But they know. So what they lack is support. So therefore, I want the Exos model. I don't want to live in a parish where there are poor people. That's what I told them. I want to go to heaven. I don't want the angels to block me, say you are an Exosi, you are neighboring poor people, you kept quiet. So I must tell you, I told them. Now you saw the house of Lule. Let's see that man. Show us his house, his coffee. Show us again, the man of Exosi. See the house, see the car. The house, car, coffee. That's how they are now. So the leadership is not for ego, but for the people and the country. In agriculture, it is possible to have pan-Ugandan rural transformation. In the Exos area, I have 9 villages with 2,048 homesteads now. As of today, all the 2,048 homesteads have joined the money economy with coffee, bananas, dairy farming, goat rearing, and poultry. You didn't show my manager of Exosi, Narwanga. Don't you have her picture? I've got a girl whom I educated from P2. She went to Ndeje, now she's the one managing. Narwanga, these people don't like my useful people. Narwanga tebamwagala bano. In the cattle corridor, most of the original families have joined the money economy through the dairy economy. In order to stabilize agriculture, we are addressing the issue of irrigation. Apart from the big irrigation schemes such as Mobuku, Doho, etc., we are developing many micro solar powered irrigation schemes, working with the British group known as Nexus Green. As we speak, they have worked with the government to put solar powered irrigation schemes in Angola, Serere, Bukedea, Amoratar, Kwanya, Apache, Kasanda, Masaka, Mukono. Those are some of the irrigation schemes. In conclusion, however, the two residual problems with the peasantry are, as I pointed out above, some of them still relying on oxetura, free range, which underutilizes the land. A square mile of well-cleared farm, no bushes, no mtete, no shrubs, no acacia, will cater for 300 longhorn cattle including the calves. With pasture growing and zero grazing, a square mile will cater for 6,000 cattle. 6,000 cattle can be fed by a square mile of where you grow the pasture. With free range, you need 3 acres for 1 cow. With zero grazing, 1 acre can support 8 Frisian cattle and 12 Ankole ones. We are aggressively sensitizing them on this. The other residual issue is the primitivity of poverty fragmentation in the form of inheritance after the head of the family has died. These recent arrivals from poverty need to be sensitized about family companies instead of individual inheritance. With these measures and those earlier mentioned, we shall have massive production and will also create jobs for hundreds of millions of Ugandans and the Africans from the neighboring countries. All this is before you add manufacturing, services, and ICT. In this speech, I've spent more time on agriculture. It's not because I don't know, I'm not aware of the other sectors. But this is where many of our people can all move more easily. This is why I'm emphasizing it, especially for you, the new members of parliament. Now, in conclusion, the main problem I have seen in all these 65 years, when I have been active, it has been obutamanya, ignorance, and okwenyoma. Africans underrate themselves. They like what other people do. They don't know how useful what they do is. Our friend Basangwa, show them Basangwa again.
Basangwa Johnson, Managing Director wa Jeka Poultry Farm. Jeka Poultry Farm eyaganibwa Bukwenge, Kamuli Municipality, Kamuli District. Mu 2007 twatandika obulunzi nga tutandikira mu Kamuli Town Council by then mu plot yali 50 feet by 100 feet. There's a foot atano ku 10 eda itaka. Tutandika tutya twali nga tulina ebyobufuzi wano mu Kamuli nga waliwo ensonga nga chairman wero C5 omugenzi Kawuga bamwidukira Katonda mu ekyumulo eky'emirembe nga bamutoyiremu abantu bangi abatamu application nga bali kwenda okufuuka ba chairman ba 5. Ayi president yaida yatulungamya yakoba ati bana abantu mwena temusobola kuba ba chairman ba 5 aye abantu mujje mukola emirimu egindi ng'okulunda yayogera kulunda embidi okulunda enkoko byonna yabyogeraku nze napikinga mu ekyokulunda enkoko n'atandika efaamu mu 2007 n'enkoko 5. Sawa dino wendogerera ku faamu kuno tize mabega ntambwire president yaida yankyalira mu 2010 nga ndina enkoko 5,000 yasanuka ino. Sawa dino tutambwire tulina enkoko 1,000 tufulumya amagi eturo 2,000 buli lunaku. Eturo 2,000 divaamu milioni 2 buli lunaku. Omwezi diba milioni 6. Omwaka tuba tuli mu bilioni 6 n'ekitundu etuba tukolaki tuyingiza. So tuwulirisa omulamwa gwa president okuva ku kiseera ekyo twakati katukigiireku. President yawaire musanufu ino ku bintu byenkoze era nga buli kaseera nkyekingaku. Wendogerera kati tulina abakozi 300.
Now, that is the story of Basangwa, how he listened to my message in 2007 and started with a small plot for poultry and eggs. He's now selling 2,000 trays per day, earning 20 million shillings a day. Now, I think during the campaign or one of those times, I was showing these pictures, these videos. People in UK, Ugandans in diaspora, were watching. They watch, even the ones who are in the diaspora. So when they saw me showing Basangwa earning 20 million shillings a day, they say, Museveni alimba. Museveni is telling lies. How can anybody in Uganda earn 20 million shillings a day? Let's go and see. People came from UK to come and see. They say this picture, which Museveni showed, was taken somewhere else. It's not in Uganda. So they came, Ugandans from UK, they came to check the lie of Museveni. How can Ugandans earn 20 million shillings a day? How can somebody earn 20 million shillings a day? So they came. And then they visited Basango. They were shocked to know that what I was saying was actually true. Now, they have actually invited Basango to go and become a lecturer there in the diaspora, to go and visit them. He came and told me, they have invited me, the diaspora have invited me. They didn't believe. This is where the problem is. And when we were talking about these things at Ntare in the school in the 1960s, they said, Museveni is a communist. He's not. They didn't believe. They didn't believe that Ankole cattle were useful. They were teaching in the school that Ankole cows are neither good for meat nor for milk. Really? But I grew with the cows. I said, go to hell. I will never live with the Ankole cows. You want to see them, you show them my cows. Mazreba. How can people? Now these are the most precious cows. The other day Ramaphosa sold one of our cows for 200 million shillings, 187 million. So this is what I have seen. I think the main problem is ignorance and okwenyoma, not having confidence in oneself. I think this is really the main problem. To find people going to work in Dubai, what are you going to do in Dubai? A desert. Dubai. What are you going to do in Dubai? When I go there, I pray that I come back quickly. The temperature, the climate, the what. You live paradise here. This is paradise. You go to work in those places. It is inferiority complex, ignorance, poor leadership, uprooted. People have no roots. I am rooted here. My roots are here. There is nothing I don't know. I grew with our culture. I'm able to know what should be forgotten because it was not scientific enough, but much of it is correct and can be updated. So with these few words, I present the government's legislative program to the Parliament. It is in Annex 1 here. No, Annex 2. There are so many bills which Prime Minister will present to Parliament, the ministers will present the bill for building substances, the small arms, light weapons control, amendment of universities and other tertiary institutions, and there are so many of them here. The laws I will present, my ministers will present to Parliament. There are so many. 38 of them, 38 bills which will be presented. Right Honorable Speaker, I present.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please accept our appreciation for your clear and concise exposition of government policy in your address on the state of the nation. The government's legislative agenda, as contained in your address, will be prioritized pursuant to Rule 26(1) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, as and when the front bench introduces them. And I think the Right Honourable Prime Minister, in our first business committee meeting, you will ably do that. Honourable members, today's address by His Excellency will not elicit any comment or question, as per Rule 10, Sub-Rule 4A of the Rules of Procedure. However, at a later date during the session, in consultation with the Business Committee, debate on the President's address on the state of the nation will be scheduled in line with Rule 26(1) of the Rules of Procedure. Honourable members, as you may already be aware, on Thursday, 11th of June 2026, His Excellency the President will deliver the budget speech pursuant to Article 1551 of the Constitution. I therefore urge you all to accordingly take note, and it will take place right here in Kololo ceremony. And I once again want to thank you, Your Excellency, and all dignitaries and invited guests for gracing this function. And my appeal to you all, honourable members of the 12th Parliament, let's stand to be counted, to be the members of Parliament who will sleep no more, to be the members of Parliament who will be remembered for waking up ourselves and waking up our people towards the money economy. We should resolve today to be the generational leaders who do not only listen but also act on the guidance of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. May God bless you all. Thank you for your kind attention.
The anthems.
2026 State of the Nation address, and His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, has put everything in black and white. As we wait for the departure of the head of state and in protocol formation, the Speaker, the Chief Justice and the Deputy Speaker and the Vice President will also be leaving. We want to thank you, and really we are very honored that you have been part of this broadcast. The President has put everything in black and white, mainly to the leaders.
It has gone to 11th of June, Thursday at 2 p.m. here in Kololo ceremonial grounds, when we will receive the budget speech.
A very much important announcement by the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Jacob Maxson Soboth. He has invited members of the 12th Parliament back to this same place on the 11th of June 2026, and business at hand will be the unveiling of the national budget. Twagala okwebaza ntegezeddwako nti waliwo abadde balaba ebigenda mu maaso nga musinziira ku mukutu ogwa Star TV. Twagala okubeebaza nti mubadde kitundu ku nteekateeka eno. Omukulembeze w'eggwanga ayogedde ku bintu bingi era azzeemu okukaatiriza nti eri abo abakulembeze abatakola abaagala okukajjala mu ntebe n'okwegulumiza okweyogerako nga bwe bali abakulembeze, nze minisita, nze mubaka wa palamenti, nti wabula nga tebagasa bitundu byebakulembera. Ekisanja kino ajja kuba mukambwe muko, ajja kugjayo enjala okulaba ng'oba oli awo balina okuteeka essira ku buweereza. The President has emphasized that indeed he needs leaders who are going to be creating around change in whatever communities they are serving. He says, Chisanja no sleeping, Chisanja no to corruption. I just want to get one member of parliament here who has sat here attentively and listened to the President. The President has put everything in bold letters. What do you take home at the end of the day?
I want first of all to say that the emphasis has been more to do with poverty eradication in this country. I think if we mobilize our people, now that we have leaders, it is important that we have to really tell our people to get household income. Like for me in my area where I come from, Bududa, the circular road, Buchigai, Bubulo Road must be worked on. Even the our roads, even the settlement of my people, I think our people are in transit. But I think the President has been spot on. The question is to put money in agriculture. Agriculture is the main employment sector, and I think we must go by what he has said. We are meeting the budget next on 11th, and we hope that we shall articulate and ensure that the unemployment can be solved only if we add more money in agriculture. But the infrastructure is crucial, and also we must now focus on vocational skilling, because the issue of people going out of the country, I think it's not their wish, but you can improve on their skills. So to me, my colleagues have heard. I want to thank the President, I want to thank all the leaders, that why not? We can work together and improve on this country.
What do you make of the boycott by the opposition from this session?
I think they have let our people down, because we were elected in Parliament to represent our people. There's one head of state in this country, and if he gives a state of the nation address, it affects all Ugandans. As leaders, in my opinion, I think they could have made a statement, but I think they have let down their people.
Thank you. For viewers, we want to pause it at this point, but the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, accompanied by the Chief Justice, I see also in companies the Clerk to Parliament, they are making their way out of Kololo ceremonial grounds. For viewers, I want to say we have finally come to the conclusion of this year's State of the Nation address, and I cross back to the broadcast house for the normal programming. I've been Robert Onyango on behalf of the entire team which has worked here. I think we need to put all our eyes and ears on TV. That the President has emphasized that it is through wealth creation that our people can change their lives. Back to the broadcast house at Nile Avenue.